My name is Kevin Ray, and you're listening to Truckers and Others. Good morning, you beautiful bastards out there and bitches. Here we are. We're rolling out of the shop. Just get my armrest set. It is 8:20 a.m. and just now getting out of the yard. Well, I mean, I've been out of the yard already, not gonna lie. Say, hey, you're gonna take this truck to this place. And this specific truck, because all the other trucks like it, are being used. It's a mini vac truck, 3,000 gallon. Not mini. It's just shorter than the trailer, the 5,000 gallon tanker trailer. So they say, you need this truck, you need to take it over there and suck out paint totes. Totes of old paint, from this big company. It's just totes they build up every other Friday. We come out there and suck them out. They're usually like whenever they're setting up their nozzles and all this shit and putting new paint in, and they're switching paint out. I don't even know really, but I know that we go out there quite often. Just waved at a buddy of mine. He's headed into work. So I go out down to the shop where the trucks are parked. I go inside. Ain't got no truck. The truck, I'm like, you want me to take this other truck? No, that one's going on this job. All right, well, there's this other truck sitting down there. No, that one's going on this other job. I'm like, well, where's the truck that you told me to take? I don't know. So we got to look it up. Use our little tracking app on we got a lady there that's got all the trucks all pulled up on her screen. I don't think she sits there and watches them, and even if she did, I don't think it's a big deal. It did come in handy. It was late at night, and my boss got a notification on his phone that our skid steer was doing about 95 miles an hour down the interstate. He's like, that's weird. How's our skid steer going 95? Well, somebody broke in, stole our trailer with the skid steer loaded on it. So it is handy to have. But no, I'm like, oh, there's the truck. It's all the way over there at the shop. They did a tank inspection on it. So headed over there. Had to get a ride from one of them Des Moines boys. And he gave me a ride over there. Grabbed the truck, did a pre-trip on it, kicked fucking tires. She's good to go. All the lights were blinking. That's good. All the lights that were supposed to blink were blinking, at least. Grabbed it and realized I didn't have the supplies needed for the job. I need a 1-inch stinger. Doesn't have to be a 1-inch, but it's this thing will suck a golf ball through let's see. It'll suck a golf ball through a fuel line. It'll suck a golf ball through a fuel line. That's what it'll do. This thing fucking sucks real good. So, had to go back to the shop, grab the supplies needed. I also needed some gloves. I didn't have any gloves with me. And I also needed... There's a gigantic wreck up here. Holy! Alright, let's count them. We got a Chevy pickup, completely fucked in the front. A little work van, the little van. We got an S10, and we got a Dodge Ram smashed up against the guardrail. We got a Mercedes-Benz And that's right up here on the bridge, right above where our shop is. And there ain't nobody getting by, and there ain't nowhere for them to get off. They are all stuck on the bridge over troubled water. Not that troubled, but it is over some water and a rail yard. And I'm still passing cars. I'm doing 50, and I am still passing cars. Here we go. Get up to this. This is the most unlucky son of a bitch right here in the Silverado with nice fuel wheels on here, because they shut the highway down right here. The highway shut down. Ain't nobody else going up there, but that Silverado was the last motherfucker to go. That poor man. Oh, right. Come on, Ford. Get up there. You're getting on a highway. Get up there. I'm not going fast. I'm going 15 under. Get on up there. Try to try to warn some of this dump truck coming down the highway pretty good. Gonna warn him. Well, I ain't gonna warn the cars. They can figure it out. They'll be all right. They can do a U-turn wherever they want. It's big trucks I worry about. Here's another one. All right, gave him a little warning. Anyways, had to head back to the shop and grab a 1-inch stinger that's about 4 foot long, because these are plastic poly totes full of paint and sludge and shit. And I also like to use a 1-inch stinger because it's a lot easier to grab shit off the end of it. If like they throw the caps off of their paint bottles, and like the little seal, the little tamper-proof seal or whatever, they throw all that shit in these fucking totes. And we go to suck them up, and I don't want, if I'm using a 2-inch hose, most of that shit will fit through, but it will, if one of them stops in there, it's gonna clog the hose, and then what the fuck am I gonna do? I don't really have. I have ways to do it. You can. I got a female to female adapter, and I can turn that hose around and put the male in and suck the hose backwards. Basically, is what I do, and it that usually will clear out any clog. If it clogs this way, turn the hose around, use that adapter, but no, I use a 1-inch stinger. So any of that shit will just get caught on the end of the hose, most likely, and I can just pull it off and throw it off into the trash can nearby. And I also like to use a stinger because you're going into paint. It's got glitter, it's got all kinds of shit in there, and they don't want it dripped all over their floor. And if I'm using a 1-inch metal stinger, I can grab a little pad and I can clean it off every time I use it, rather than the rubber hose, the rubber 2-inch hose. Stick that in there, and then it's painted, and that ain't no good. And there ain't no hardener in this paint either. It's just loose as a goose in there. But sometimes it is chunky at the bottom, because whenever they use the same totes every time. So if we suck it out, but we don't get it all, it's gonna harden at the bottom, and then when that as it dries, finally it's enough liquid is out that it can dry, it'll clump up into chunks, and then as they're driving around, it's all, I don't know if it's real brittle, but it'll be chunks of shit in there as the forklifts are driving it around their shop. So you don't want to always suck all the way to the bottom, and there's a lot of times there's sludge at the bottom too. But that's just the way she goes. It's all right, and I'll get about. They're not all full, so I'll get about, I think, 9 to 10 is all I can usually suck. And I back up to one of their docks, it's a shipping, like a regular shipping dock. I back up to the dock and I just run my hose underneath their little door, close the door, and I got a little window. I got a little window right there. I can look out and I can keep an eye on my gauge, keep an eye on my connections, make sure I ain't got fucking spray going everywhere. I also brought me a vent hose because the exhaust of the vacuum pump, it's gonna smell like paint or paint thinner. So uh, usually, you're out in the middle of nowhere, you just let it exhaust out. But since I got this garage door, even though there is not that much of a gap when I shut the door on my hose, um, it's still like, I don't know. There's always a wind coming towards the building right there, so it'll fill this warehouse full of that smell and exhaust and stuff. And they got pissed off at me once. So now I'll hook up the vent hose. Maybe it's got a little 90 on it, so I can turn the 90 away from the building, and maybe that'll work. I don't know. I might as well just grab the vent hose. I got it with me. Just take it down and hook it up and put it up on the front of the truck somewhere. It'll vent out in the parking lot. Much less likely for it to go into the building that I'm sucking in. But it's not. This episode's going to be split up a little bit. Hopefully, not as much as fucking last time. Last time it was Madhouse. I listened to it back after I posted it. Not all of it, but I listened to a little bit of it. Try to figure out where my cuts were, and I realized it did cut out quite a bit of recording. So I don't even know what I was talking about. Just talking shit, probably. There is a development. The other day, I saw a white pickup truck, 90s Chevy, lifted on some nice wheels and tires. The body, I mean, it was a white truck. It wasn't nothing crazy about the truck. It looked a little off white on some different panels, so it's probably been repainted. I saw it smashed up against the retaining wall or whatever. And I drove by it and I saw a guy in there with a high vis shirt, and I'm like, that poor man. He's just like me. I'm wearing a high vis shirt, driving a 90s truck to Chevy this morning, and he's just one that smashed his into the wall. It could have been me. You never know. And I just felt so bad about the guy. Well, I follow this group on Facebook, 88 to 98 Chevy trucks. Just, I've talked about that before. I just follow a couple of groups on Facebook. And lo and behold, last night I'm scrolling through and I see that white truck all smashed up. The same white truck. And then, who's the guy's name up there? Guess who the guy's name was? I'm not going to say the name. But it was the guy, the fucking shithead that worked at the grocery store that fucked around with me too many times. It was him. So I messaged him on Facebook. Maybe I am being a little, like, I was talking mad shit on him just the other day. I haven't talked about that guy in years. And I was just talking shit about him, and then he shows up with a wrecked truck, and now I feel bad. Because I think I did mention in that episode, he was a really shitty boss. Not gonna lie. He was not fun to work with. We were also very young. Now, I don't know what he does for work. I don't know really much about him at all. I know he's got 2 kids, kind of like me. He's got a wife. I did a little bit of creeping on there. I clicked on his profile just to see what he's been up to. And I end up scrolling back years because he doesn't post that much. But, yep, he got a wife. They got married around the same time me and my wife got married, which is fucking insane. They have 2 kids. I think their kids are actually a little older than my kids. But I don't know. I haven't talked to him about that. I just sent him a message. I said, hey, man, saw your truck smashed. And I have a different name on my Facebook profile. I said, this is blah, 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 Kevin Ray. I'll say my name. This is Kevin Ray. You remember me? You know who I am. I saw your truck. I feel bad for you. He said, yeah. I'm like, that's all he's got to say. Okay. Yeah, I have a truck a lot like your truck. He said, cool. I'm like, oh, this guy really don't like. And then I sent a picture of it, but I sent a picture before he said cool, and he just said cool. And so I don't know. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Maybe he hates me. I don't know. I don't think it was the last time we talked was that grocery store. I don't think so. But I maybe I held a little resentment against him, and we had that little altercation. Maybe he holds a little resentment against me still. But people can change, people grow. We were young, we were dumb, we were really dumb, and maybe this will turn into a friendship again. It wasn't really a friendship before. It was more like acquaintance and roommates and boss. So it wasn't really. I mean, we went to bonfires and stuff together, but I was like, this fucking guy fucking tries to work me ragged. I'm at a grocery store stocking shelves. Leave me the fuck alone. I'm on a low shelf right now. You can see my ass crack. Leave me alone, man. This is not where I want to be remembered. So just let it go, dude. Just let it go. I'll let my side go. You let your side go. Let's be friends. We both have 2 kids around the same age, same genders. We got wives. We got married at the same time. We have the same fucking trucks. We both have beards. We live in the same area. We wear the same shirt. Come on, man. Just let her go. Let's be friends. Maybe we will. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be good if he heard that episode. That probably wouldn't be good. But by golly, it's amazing what. Oh man, I just had to hit the brakes pretty good. It's amazing what you'll find out. A guy I ain't talked about or thought about in years. I bring him up, and then he smashes his fucking truck. I'm gonna get over this car. These guys are just snailing along the slow lane. I'll tell you, I don't need to be in the slow lane. I know there's an exit coming up here that is pretty popular. So I don't need it. I'm going to get out of the slow lane. Um, but yeah, had a good morning. Um, got to work on time. Getting to the job a lot later than I wanted to, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. It doesn't take that long to suck the totes out. And the guy that it's always the same guy that pulls the totes up to me, and he's a really cool guy. I like to sit and chat with him. I'm not always the guy to do this job. We do it every other Friday. Um, but he knows me. At least I think he does. Maybe he remembers me every time. He's like, oh, yeah, that is that one guy. We talked about, he used to work at the stadiums. Um, I asked him, like, what are your dreams and stuff? I don't remember what his dreams were, but that's some of the questions I just asked some people. I'm like, hey, man, look at you. You're riding around on the forklift at a paint factory. Is this where you want to be? Probably not, but you're probably doing all right. I think he gets paid pretty good. Um, Maybe it's a stressful job. I don't even know anything about it. I just ask him. I'm like, well, where, if you could be where you want to be, where would that be? Would it be on a yacht with some thoughts in your mind? Not, or like the women, I don't know. People call them thoughts. I don't know what the fuck that. I don't know what that is, but it rhymed, so I said it. Is your dream to be on some land that you own? Maybe you got some animals, maybe you don't. Maybe you just let the land go. Let it be natural. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I'd like to have some animals, some goats mainly, probably a couple of pigs here and there, chickens for sure. But I'd really like to get some land. Not a lot, just like 10 acres would be ideal and realistic, slightly realistic. A 10-acre plot with a lot. It doesn't need to be flat land either. You know, flat for the house or whatever in the barn. I'd like to have a barn or a shop or something like that. But mainly, I want some wooded area. I like to explore. I like trail riding. If I had that on my own property, I'd be fucking golden. And also, like, my stipulations for land or for where we were going to move next, they change all the time. But my perfect would be uh, the wife wants laundry on the main floor. Right now, it's in the basement. It's a fucking nightmare. We got a split level, so the staircase is just full of dirty clothes all the time. We just toss it over the railing and let it go. It'll build up and we kick it down the stairs a little bit every now and then. I mean, we do laundry. It's not, but it's just a revolving, it's always there. You know, it's like, I don't want dirty clothes upstairs. The laundry's downstairs. So I might as well get them a little closer. I'm not going to go down there and do laundry right now. So just throw them down there. Yeah. So, it would be not necessarily a ranch. It could be a ranch style house, but it's got to have a basement. There is a fire on the highway. There's a fire on the highway. What are we doing here? The guy on the radio said, "Oh, yeah, you're all good. Everything's fine. There ain't no wrecks. Everybody's okay. Nothing to worry about." And there is a fire on the highway, and there was a 5-car accident back on that other highway. Man, this guy is going up. Yep, I'm guessing his trailer brakes are on fire. Here come the berries and cherries up the other side of the highway. They got extinguishers out. Yeah, that thing was on fire. It's a 40-foot shipping container trailer. Those trailers are not good trailers. You see them, they're all fucking dog-legged, fucking going crooked. His drive tires, passenger tires are on the white line, solid, and his trailer tires are on the dotted line. Not this one, but you'll see him going down the road like that, and you're like, Jesus Christ, that passes DOT. DOT don't care about that. I smell it now. I smell the brakes. I smell the rubber. It smells pretty good. Anyways, ranch style house with a 1-car garage. Now, maybe a little shocking to people, but I want a 1-car garage attached to the house, and that's for the wife. I want the wife to be able to park her car in the garage that's clean and not cluttered. There's nothing in there except for a car, a snow shovel, and some extension cords. Maybe even the vacuum. Put them in the garage, but basically the garage is for her. I want her to have a clean area to park her car. That's my goal. I have a 2-car garage right now. It's full of dogs and shit. Some literal shit, but mainly dogs and trash. Not trash. My junk that I put in there. It's full to fuck. I need to go out there and clean it. But even if I do clean, I don't know, man. I need to get rid of some stuff. Maybe coming up. This is fall now. I think we're officially there. I don't know if we are or not, but we're here. Maybe I'll get time to clean up the garage a little bit. And another side note, currently I have DOT driving right behind me. Now, he's got his blinker on. He's turning over here, but you never know, buddy. You never know with DOT. He's got his blinker on. What if he just turns on the barriers and cherries and comes after me? But why are you not on the highway? There's a fire right over there. Go fuck. It's a semi. That's all you. Let's go over there. Figure it out. Leave me alone. He's gone. Okay, we're good. Um, Ranch style house, about 4 bedrooms. I'd like to have the kids each a bedroom, me and the wife's bedroom, and then a spare room. I'd like to have an office. I think in the future she's going to want to get a stay-at-home type of job or something that she can do from home. That would be ideal. She likes to do work in PJs. I feel like, a lot of people were working at home and now it's all getting back to normal finally. But now the roads are fucked up. I mean, they're just cluttered. Um, so everybody's back working, going to Chick-fil-A and stuff. That's when you know times are good. Well, they really aren't good. Gas ain't that bad. I filled up yesterday for $3.30 a gallon. We're in Missouri, so it's all right. And it is October 20th. Let me check that. It is October 20th. I'm in Kansas right now, and I'm passing a fuel stop right here. Let's see what they got. Let's see what their prices are. They don't have a price sign out. Oh, $3.25 in Kansas, $4.69 for diesel. Ranch style house, 4 bedrooms, 1 bedroom each kid. Right now they have their own bedroom, but it's only a 3 bedroom house. So we got our room and the kids' rooms and the kitchen. The kitchen, I'd like to have a nice island. I love to have an island with a sink. I like the sink in the island. I don't know why. It just looks good. I like it. Um, I'd like a back patio, but I don't like stairs in the back either. So, like right now, we have a deck and you got 8 stairs down. I'd really like to lower that deck about 2 steps. So, right outside of the house, you got to go down 2 steps, rebuild the porch, make it bigger, and then have 4 steps down to another deck that's much bigger. Well, maybe not much bigger, but like another little area. And then there's only 2 steps down to the yard. And just doing that, I don't know. If I stayed in the house that I'm in now, that's what I would do, but I'm not gonna. But I mean, the deck might fall the fuck off. It's not very good. I did actually run around just the other day, and I screwed in all the balusters. There's a couple boards that were up high. The stairs were falling apart, so I did that. We don't really go out back that often. We do go out back, but it's like, oh, don't hold on the balusters. Just hold my hand down, little girl. Um, because you might fall through the fucking balusters. And so I went through and made sure all that shit was done. And yeah, it's 8 stairs. It's a good sized deck. It's like a 10 by 10 deck. I got my grill out there and a couple of chairs. Nothing real exciting. And then 8 stairs down, we got a shitty landscape bricking patio. I don't really know. Grass comes up every fucking brick, so I gotta mow it. It's weird to mow the patio, but I do. And then I go and weed eat it. And then it looks good for about 10 minutes, and then it grows back. But we're coming into fall, so I ain't gonna. I'll probably do one more mow this year. And maybe not even one more mow. Might leave it if it stays the way it is right now. It's pretty good. It's a little not tall. It's just not short like it usually is. Back to the dream house. I've already explained the house. And then I want either a detached 2-car or 3-car garage or a barn or like a shed or something that I can park my vehicles in, and a place with a concrete floor, and I can load it up with my junk. I don't really mind junk. I just I need a place to put it that doesn't affect the way the house runs. And right now, it definitely affects the way the house runs. So get that all put into the shed out back. Maybe even have a separate little shed for like mowers and other yard equipment. And like 10 acres. 5 is okay. Wooded area, perfect. I'd rather have wooded, because then if it's not wooded, you gotta mow it. Whatever. Um, and be able to get some go-karts and dirt bikes and shit to drive around. Here's another vac truck. What are you doing on my turf? Get out of here. That fucking vac truck is on my turf. This is my company I work for. Get out of here. What does that vac truck think he's doing? I don't know what company he was with. He was with a different company. He had a smaller vac truck. Shittier, for sure. Probably rides better. This one's it doesn't have air suspension in the rear. It's just got bushings. It's a bushing rear end. It's a hard motherfucker to drive. It'll rock your shit. Got my duffel bag all belted up in the seat. It'll fucking bounce right out and dump all my Skittles on the ground. I wouldn't want that. I don't have Skittles in there. I've got other shit. I got like nail clippers and glasses and earplugs and chew cans and wires and shit. I don't know. I don't need all that shit falling on the floor again. So I belted up. But yeah, that would be a perfect house. A little bit of land. Something's beeping. Why the fuck you beeping? A little bit of land. For the kids to run around, play on, the dogs to run and play. I'd like to fence in most of it. Probably not the house portion, so we can drive in and out of the driveway and have no issue. Maybe even the shop, but have it fenced off to where I can let the dogs out and they can run in the woods and they can play, they can explore and do whatever the fuck they want. Same with the kids. I can let them out and they can run around. I do not want a pond. I don't want any type of water source on the property. Maybe a stream or a creek. But really, I don't want to have to deal with the pool. I don't want to have to deal with the pond. Having the kids go out there, no matter the age. I mean, look at Obama's cook. He died. He died in a pool or a creek or pond. Or I don't even know much about it. I probably shouldn't even brought it up. But people die in water, and I don't want to have to deal with that shit. Um, And another stipulation that I always had is I need to be able to shoot guns out there. I'd love to target practice out the back door. That would be ideal. I'd love to be able to do that. The wife wouldn't like that, but she hasn't really had any say against it. But, yep, I've got a bow. I shoot that in my backyard now. I don't know if that's legal. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I'm shooting a bag, but I'm gonna pause here and I'll bring you back here shortly. I just arrived. I'm gonna do work and then I'll record when I'm done here. Maybe something crazy will happen. Maybe not. I don't know. Hopefully not. And we're loaded. Just got the paperwork filled out. Um, Sucked 7 totes full of paint. They weren't all quite full, but they They were all close. What is 7 times 300? Let's look that up real quick just to see if my math is right. 7 times 300, 2,100 gallons. I'm at roughly half a tank, so I just put down 1,500 gallons. And you know what? It doesn't really matter what I put down, anyways. So it is heating up for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the air, get some air conditioning and going. Everything ended up fine. Um, Obviously, like every time you use a vac truck, you want to make sure you want to pull some vacuum on it, but no product yet. Just pull some vacuum, leave the valves shut, just start building vacuum in your tank, and you can go around and get all your wing nuts. It's got wing nuts, big ass wing nuts all around this tank. You want to make sure they're all tight. So I made sure they were all tight. Everything was good. And then I started sucking product. But it wasn't sucking super great, and I'm guessing that's because there was some sludge at the bottom. So I was moving the hose around, but I was like, still, it's not right. Usually you can watch it suck them tanks out, and it'll the level, you can watch the level because they're poly totes. You can see right through them almost, but you can definitely see the water level or the liquid level of the paint. So I'm watching it, and it's not going down as fast as I'd like it to, but it was the sludge. But before I found out it was the sludge, I look up at the top of the tank at the manhole. I just picked this truck up from the cleaners, and they did not put any of the wing nuts on the manhole up top. I'm like, oh fuck! So I climb up there, and it's not even leaking. You're not leaking, like no product would come out the top, anyways, sitting still. But you don't hear air rushing in anywhere around the cap because it was in where it needed to be, but it was twisted ever so slightly, so I couldn't get the little wing nut, the bolt that the wing nut's hooked to. I couldn't get it into the little setting where you tighten it down to. So I said, you know what? It's fine. It's where it needs to be. It's sealed. It's good. It's under vacuum. No problems. But I got to remember when I'm done here, I need to climb up to the top, relieve the vacuum pressure, hop up top, spin that cap a little bit, and put them wing nuts on there because I don't want to drive around like that. With a load and a cap, even though it's under vacuum pressure, you never know what could happen. And, you know, I've had an accident before and I didn't have any leaks because I made sure everything was fucking tight on that thing. But if I got into an accident and the DOT showed up and saw that I got a fucking cap on top when that wasn't fucking bolted down at all, woo, gonna be in trouble there. But we're all good, no trouble, everything's fine. Headed to the landfill. Um, Headed over to this landfill. They just put in a new liquid pit. It's really nice. They used to have you just drive around to general trash. They would make a path for you to get it to the top of the trash, and you just release your liquid into the top of the trash, and it would get into the shit. And it was always a fucking mess. It was never a clean job. And then you got to get a guy with a power washer on a trailer to show up and drive all the way up there also, and then you're stomping around in trash and mud and all that gunk, and you got to wash the tank out, and it's like this could be better. There's got to be a way. This could be way better. And so they made a liquid pit. They dug it out, and they put in a concrete structure, 2 pits. We got some construction on the side of the road up here. Got to be aware of. And they're really nice. They even have, it's like a diamond plate uh, place where you park your truck to dump into the pit. They also have frac tanks there, and normally that's what you'll hook up to the frac tank, and you'll just pressure off into the frac tank. I'm guessing that's what they're going to have me do this time, but I'm not exactly sure. Doesn't matter. Find out when I get there. And yep, we got one of our guys. He's a really cool guy. He's scary to fuck to drive around with if he's driving, but he's a good guy. I really like him. He's fun. We have a good time together. He is gonna grab a pickup truck and a power washer and meet me at the landfill, and we're gonna wash out over there. Gonna have a great time. Um, and the guys over there that it's a different company. The company that owns the landfill, subcontracted out this pit, so it's a totally different company at the pit, which is nice because the guys at the landfill, they're kind of, I don't know, not all of them. I probably get along with them. I don't ever really talk to them or anything, but I know that the guys that run the pit, they're really cool. There's one guy, he just bought himself a diesel square body. It's rusted to fuck. It's got a shitty flatbed on it, 4-wheel drive, 4-speed. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. Um, and then another guy, he's got a old Jeep Cherokee YJ. What do you call them? I don't fucking know. Your goddamn Jeep terms and shit. It's a WJ, JEEP. That's what it is. Um, it's the square one, the '90s square Jeep, and it's all rusted out and looks like a piece of shit. But I'm sure he is not afraid to wheel it. So I'm hoping those guys are there today. And yep. And then I got Louis instead of, well, I just said his name. Instead of the other guy would probably say, "I brought you a suit. Here you go," and I'd have to wash out my own tank. Not a big deal. It's just like, but you're not. All you're doing is hooking up a trailer and driving here, and then driving back. Like, I'm gonna bill you on this job. You're gonna do some fucking work. At least that's what I'd like to say to most of the people. But you know, I've been here for 2 years now, and I'm not exactly a lifer like some of these guys. But so I don't know. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I brought you a suit. Oh, thanks. Well, I guess I'll hop up in there and do it. I don't really have to do it that often, so I really don't mind it. But I got the guy today, and he's gonna hop up in there and do a really good job. Because he likes doing that. He likes getting suited up and getting in tanks. At least that's what I like to say he likes. That's what he's going to be doing today, that's for sure. Unless he's like, my foot hurts. All right. Well, I ain't got no rubber boots or nothing with me, so I mean, I'd be like, let's just hose it out from the back and call it good. Which sometimes you can actually do that. You can actually just hose it out from the back and let it all come out. There is a baffle, one baffle in the middle. It's just a square piece that's centered in the tank. So you throw the power washer over the top and you climb underneath. And I really don't like climbing under there, especially when there's some nasty shit in there. Even though you're wearing a suit, you're going to get it on you somewhere. I was talking about my dream house where I left y'all off. Oh, yeah, dream house. And we've lived in, I don't even remember when we moved into our house. We've been there for at least 5 years now, maybe more. Um, And it's a good house. It's basically a cookie cutter of my mom's house. We're in a nice little neighborhood. It's got, we don't have sidewalks. We don't have curbs. We've got ditches. And I kind of like that. You know, it brings a little bit of a more of a rural feel, even though I'm in a straight up neighborhood. There's more of a rural feel, and the guy that lives behind me, he owns 5 lots, 4 lots, and three. He's got a house on one. I think he's got like a little bit of a shop on the second one, and then the other two are just wooded. So right behind my house is basically woods, and my backyard is a nice flat area. And then the guy that lived there before me put down these railroad ties at the bottom of this hill because it goes up a hill. It used to be a bank of a pond. Um, they have since filled in that pond, so it's just now. But my fence goes up onto that bank, or what used to be a bank. So there's a lot of land. I have wooded area. You know, I've got the wooded area. I don't go back there. It's it's a mess. Trees are falling down back there and all kinds of stuff. It's not a big yard, not gonna lie. It's not a huge yard, but it is a wooded area on my property. It's got 2 big pine trees on it, a bunch of saplings and shit, and then the one tree in the middle that I pulled down partially, and it's just overgrown like crazy. And the guy that lived there before me he was an outdoorsman, but he was a city outdoorsman. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He was just going outside, is what he was doing. But he took a bunch of tarps. He put landscaping bricks around the pine trees. He took a bunch of tarps out there and laid them down on the ground and used these long metal staples. Well, they look like staples, but I'm sure he used a hammer and fucking banged this tarp down into the ground. The whole hill. It's a pain in the fucking ass. It's got like, there's a lot of vines and like that overgrowth stuff just everywhere over the ground. And one day, my dog came run. I was out there playing with him. He ran up the hill, ran down the hill, ran up the hill, and ran down the hill, and he's running back there and messing with something. He comes back down. But one of the times he came down, he was limping, and I look over, and he's got one of those metal stakes through the webbing of his toes or his paw. And I'm like, fucking stop! And I grab him, and I slowly pull it out, and he whimpered a little bit, but after I got it pulled out, he was fine. And then I was trying to look it up. I'm like, do I need to take him to the vet? Because these are rusty stakes. He had a rusty stake in his foot. Does he need to get some sort of shot? I don't know. I know if I got that, I'd need to go re-up on my tetanus. Everything I looked up said, don't worry about it. Now, I don't know if that's good advice. Don't take my advice now. Do your own research. But the research I did at the time, this was years ago, I didn't do anything about it, and he's fine. He's 10 years old now. Healthy. A healthy 10. Got a couple of scars on him. We have this trailer out back. It's actually my wife's grandmother's trailer. She's like, I ain't got nowhere for it, so can you hold on to it? But everybody wants to use it. I don't mind. Whatever. I'll leave it at my house. And, anyways, he's got, the dogs love to run underneath the trailer. They like to go underneath there, and I don't know. They'd like to go under there. And there's angle iron, cross braces, and it's not smoothed off. I should really take a grinder out there and just smooth them off or something. But he dove under that fucking trailer one day, and he caught his shoulder on the right side. So now, I checked him out and cleaned him up and everything, but he's all healed fine. He's just got a scar there. You can't even see it. It's just like a little dimple in his fur. Not a big deal. Um, so, anyways, I have these big ass logs that have been out on that property since I bought it, and I roll those logs over next to it, next to the sharp parts, so he can still get underneath there. But at least I block off the parts where he's going to try to dive under and get cut. I also the trailer landing gear. I put it all the way down. The hitch is basically just hovering over the ground. I leave it down at an angle because also the dogs like to hop up on there too, and they would tilt the trailer if all three of them would get, well, at the time it was four of them. But if the two big dogs got on the back of the trailer, it would tilt up and freak them out. And the little dogs are underneath the trailer, and it's just a bad. I was like, I'm going to crank this landing gear down, and now I don't know. It made a difference because now I lost one of my dogs, so uh, it's fine now. But I leave it all the way down. I don't know. I'm done. Maybe it's just a weird reason I do it. But it really sucks to mow around that motherfucker. I pull it out every now and again. I just grab the safety chains and I hook it to my lawnmower and I just drag that motherfucker out, mow around it and put it back there. Not every time, but some of the time. Right now it's loaded up with lumber. My buddy that moved to Florida, he did air conditioning and stuff, and he was out on new construction houses all the time. And there was not that he was stealing any product; it was just scrap left over, and he had a little bit of everything. So he brought that all over to my house before he took off to Florida. So now I got a lot of extra lumber laying around. It's always good to have a nice stack of wood. You never know. I'm going to use some of it to make a gate for the top of the stairs. I think I got some old door hinges somewhere, and I'll just, I don't think I have a latch, but I could figure out a latch, and I want to put a little gate at the top of the stairs on the deck so that the kids and the wife and everybody can go out there. They don't have to go. So, but that's the worry is the kids are going to run down the stairs, fall down the stairs, something like that. Put a gate at the top so they can't get down there. And then we can also like kind of leave the back door wide open. I don't really want to get bugs in the house, but we can leave the back door open and they can go out there and play. And not that it happened once. My neighbor's dog got into our yard. Luckily, they get along. They don't look like they'd get along at the fence, but they got into the yard when I was at work at one time, and they were back there playing. They were just having a hell of a time, just running around playing. Um, but what if I open the door and I let the dogs in? I do the whistle, and the wrong dog comes running in the house. That could be bad. Maybe, maybe not. They're nice dogs. They act just like my dogs. They act ferocious at the gate, but as soon as you reach your hand in, they're fine. At least to me. I wouldn't suggest anybody come pet my dogs. Don't do that. The little one will bite. He has bit. Not bad, but he'll nip you. He's a little ankle biter. But yeah, I really should redo the garage and get it all done up so I can get the wife's car parked in there. Plus, I'd like to be able to park instead of having my cars on one side of the driveway, taking up the whole. I'd like to be able to park over there. Yeah, I'd have to move the truck out or the car out of the way every time she wants to go somewhere. But because my car is also a 6-speed manual, my truck is a 5-speed manual, and yeah, they can't. She can't drive them. I've really wanted to teach her, and every now and again she's like, "I'd love to learn." I'm like, "All right, hop in, let's go." She's like, "Well, not right now." I'm like, "Well, when?" She's like, "Maybe in like an open parking lot." Oh, okay. Take her to an open parking lot just randomly on our way home from somewhere, dropping the kids off or something. "Hey, you want to drive the car or truck?" "No." I'm like, "Well, Jesus, babe." She just don't want to do it, which is fine. I don't need my gears grinded and my clutch roasted. Not that I don't do that myself. Landfill. Jesus, take the wheel. All right. Good thing I plugged it in. I was going to go the wrong way. Oh, wait. I do need it. This is the wrong way. That is the wrong way. That'll take me on a no truck route. I don't want to do that. The guy behind me is freaking out, but it's like, hey, I put my blinker on. I put my blinker on. I was getting off, and then, oh, shit, I'm getting back on. Get out of the way. I'm buzzing. Somebody sent me a text message. I'm not going to look at it. Not till I'm parked. Make sure this is the right place. Yep. Um. So yeah, I'm running half a load right now. I just said 1,500 gallons. It holds 3,000, but you can only really pump about 2,800 on there without the pump all fucking up. I've been in a situation just like this before in the sister truck to this one. Um, I don't know if I've told this before. Pardon me if I have, but I'm gonna say it again. If I had said it before, but I don't know if I did. I was working in Nebraska, and I was driving down south, headed back to Kansas City. I get into St. Joe. I'm in the fast lane. There's a truck to my right. I'm not going fast. I mean, maybe a little bit over 65, but right around where I'm supposed to be. I mean, we've got meters in these trucks that'll beep at you if you're going too fast. And I try to only do, if I do go over, only about 5. So I'm going around this truck, and then the car's in front of me, way up ahead, probably at least 2 football fields for reference. 2 football fields ahead. I see them hitting their taillights, and I'm wondering what the fuck's going on because they're in the fast lane. Why are they hitting their brakes? So I let off the throttle, and then as I'm getting a little closer to them, I realize they are scattering. They are hitting the brakes, swerving off, freaking the fuck out. I lock them up. At this point in time, I realize, oh shit, I'm gonna need to stop in a hurry, and whether I stop early or not, I need to fucking stop. I lock them up, and as soon as I hit the brakes, all that liquid from the back of the tank came rushing forward and did not let me stop. Even though there is a baffle in there, It doesn't matter. It's pushed. I've never had to emergency stop my truck with a load or a half a load or any really ever. Not from the highway speeds. I'm really a cautious driver, so I've just never had to do it. But on this particular day, I did. And I realized this truck is not fucking stopping. I'm smoking the back tires. I mean, I got it locked up and I'm sliding and sliding and sliding. And I'm not even looking off to the sides. I'm not looking off to the passenger side. I've got a lane over there, but there's a semi there. Got a little road rage going up ahead right now. I'm kind of keeping my eye on it. The, the Mercedes is not happy with the GMC. I think the Mercedes is just taking off now. All right. I lock them up. I'm sliding. I can't stop. I'm not going to swerve over into that semi's path. I'm just going to keep going straight, and hopefully I can stop before I hit these fucking cars. I realized that's not going to happen. And so I turn a little bit into the ditch. And, ditches go downhill. I start going downhill. I see the crash cable in the middle, safety chain, safety cable, whatever the fuck it is. And I try not to hit that, but then I soon realize all the liquid went up on the side of the truck, and it tipped me over on top of the safety cable. And I banged the fuck out of my head on the window, because the cab crushed in on my side because the ditch wasn't very wide there. So when I went down in there and I tipped over, the cab landed on the upside of the ditch on the other side of the highway. So, or on the middle side of the highway, but on that, or the northbound lanes. Yeah, fucked my shit up. This is another no truck route, so I guess I'll just keep going. I'll go over the river, whatever. Come back across the river on the other side. Yeah, banged the fuck out of myself, and I blacked out. And I come to shortly after. I didn't black out for long. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And the truck is on its side. Everything that I had in my passenger seat, I didn't have it belted in like I do now. Everything fell on me. Got water bottles everywhere. There wasn't really anything big in there other than my bag, and it was a rough riding motherfucker. Uh, and a case of water, I think, on the floor, and all that shit fucking came blown on me. I didn't care much about that stuff. I was like, oh shit, and the front windshield busted right out. It was still in one piece though. It was so weird. It was, I think it was a little shattered, but it just was out. Had the seal on it. The back window didn't break. It just popped out. No, I didn't break any glass. I cracked the windshield, but I didn't break any glass. It was insane. And a UPS driver in shorts came over and helped me out of the front of the windshield. Such a nice guy. And it was like immediately there was an ambulance there. I didn't even turn around to look at the truck. I just got out of it, and it seemed like I got put right into an ambulance. I was like, what? How the fuck? How long was I out? Jesus. And, yeah, I texted my boss. I texted the mechanic. It's funny. The mechanic was actually the first one I texted. I said, hey, man, I wrecked the truck. You're going to have some work to do soon. He's like, what the fuck? Why are you talking to me? Call 911. I'm like, I'm already in the ambulance. And texted my boss. Hey, they sent over one of our project managers. He's a really nice guy. He's there for you if you ever need it. And then I texted my wife the address to the hospital. I said I crashed. And then I sent her the address. And that was about it. She just showed up. Um, yeah, I would have hit that vehicle if I would have stayed on the road. So I took the ditch. I really wish I would have looked in my mirror on the other side and realized that that semi went into the ditch on the other side. He was making room for me. He went into the ditch and smacked a fucking round bale they had in the ditch. Hey, I guess he was fine. His truck was a little fucked up, but yeah, I took the ditch on one side, he took the ditch on the other, and what it was is there was a little brown car in the fast lane, and they decided they missed their exit, and instead of just hitting the exit that was literally 50 feet ahead, they wanted to just take that little emergency crossing for where the DOT sits, and they just went from 70 to nothing, took that turn, watched, they saw everything happen. They had to have seen everybody fucking crashing behind them, and I mean, they made the right move. They made the right move. They just fucking took off. But they really fucking caused a goddamn scene over there. Um, Not a good time. This is telling me to get back over there onto that. No, I ain't doing that. I'm going to come over here and take this road over. Having a river going right through where you need to go is kind of a pain in the fucking ass. Like, you got to go across the river over here and right, take it down, and also having no truck routes and shit. Not that those have ever stopped me before. I'm sure if you drive, you know. No trucks. For why? For why? Why no trucks? You know, sometimes there is a reason. Other times it's, I don't know, neighborhood decided they wanted to complain about it. They just put up a no truck sign. We like all the shit that comes in on trucks, but we don't want no trucks near us. You're too loud. It's so loud, a truck coming by. It's like you live next to a fucking train. How about that? And now I can't see a fucking thing. I can't see a fucking thing. I had a lot of room to go right there. White car, got another truck coming. Alright, think we're going to be safe to come out now. Yep. Another sign that just tickles me. No exhaust brakes. Exhaust brakes prohibited. No Jake brakes. You live on a fucking steep ass hill, bitch. No. I have a muffled exhaust brake or, you know, engine brake. I just leave it on. Fuck them. What are you gonna do? Give me a ticket? It's I understand it's the unmuffled ones. There's a guy I used to work down on this other road, and there's this guy that he owned his own truck, and it was a flat road. There's no reason for it, but he would just leave it on and blah 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 down the fucking road. I can understand how that's a little bit annoying. I do. I understand. But if you live on a hill, it's just let them use it, man. We're not trying to be annoying most of the time. We don't want to smoke our fucking brakes, and then what? Then what are we supposed to do? Is that exhaust brake gonna do much after we have no fucking air brakes? Not really. You can put it on level 3. And still fucking, it doesn't slow down that much. But going downhill, it just keeps you steady. Keeps you in the speed limit that you posted up. It's a 35-mile-an-hour downhill. No Jake brakes. Like, you motherfuckers. There's another spot. I used to deliver lumber, and on the paperwork, always bold, highlighted, underlined, exclamation points all over it. Do not drive on this road. I'm like, so what's up with that? They're like, it's just a neighborhood nearby, and they don't want anybody driving by. I'm like, oh, okay. And then we had one new guy run right down that road, and I guess the Karen in the neighborhood showed up to the lumber yard he was delivering to, ripped his ass a new one. She had already called DOT. DOT came over, wrote him a ticket. It's like, what the fuck? And then the lumber company, our lumber company, got issued a warning, I think, or something. And then the lumber company we were delivering to they had to start putting up bigger signs or something. No trucks. Use alternate route. The alternate route took 15 minutes longer to get there. It's like, what the fuck? There's a straight shot, but you don't like to have trucks drive down the road. So we can't go there. Pretty fucking dumb. Pretty dumb. Um, oh, there's a train. Luckily, I don't have to try to get across there. There's always a train going by. Don't you just love it? You're waiting on a train, and you see the end of it, and as soon as the end comes, another train comes the opposite direction, and you're like, God damn it! And then it stops, and then it starts backing up, and then it moves forward, and then it backs up, and you're like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I usually just sit and watch them. I'm not one to try to find that alternate sketchy route. I'll just sit there, paid by the hour, and be all right. Sorry, boss, there's a train, man. What do you want me to do? Jump it? Because I will. They were bringing that up earlier. The guy saw me coming into work in my pickup. He's like, man, you are flying down the road. You're liable to get a ticket. I'm like, what? I saw railroad tracks. He's like, what's that have to do with anything? I'm like, every time I see railroad tracks, I just want to fucking jump them. Like I did with my Thunderbird. Also, my square body, the 78 square body I used to have. So I guess I can make it a little bit of a quick story. The square body, I bought it, had a 305, and that was fine. It ran, it drove, it didn't have a lot of power. It was just a 4-barrel. Actually, it was a 2-barrel on a 305. Don't ask me how I knew it was a 305 because it's so hard to tell. So, I mean, you could look up the numbers on the block or whatever, but according to some of my friends that I trusted, they said it was a 305. According to where the dipstick was or some shit, I don't know. So it was a 305 is what I've always said, and one day it just started running like shit. Probably after a good run up the road, a high revving, because I always ran the gears in that. It was a 3-speed tranny. Not It was automatic, but I used the auto shift. You know, just throw her down into first and fucking, and then bump her up into second, and then bump her up into drive. It was super slow. That truck never got over 70 miles an hour. It was so slow. Um, how do I know it didn't get over 70? I used Google, and it's like top speed. It was like 65. Because the speedometer did not work in that truck. Neither did the fuel gauge. I had battery, oil temp, um, and coolant temp. I think, I don't know. And then I had a tachometer zip tied to the steering column. The tachometer was not right, but it read consistent. It was not reading the right. I think I had it on V6 or something. I don't know. Uh, Later on, when I sold it, I found out you can unscrew the back of it, and it's got 4, 6, and 8. And I was like, oh, well, there we go. But I always just ran it off of that. I could tell how fast I was going roughly just by the tach. And anyways, I had 305, started running like shit. Took it to a shop. They said it's blown. It's a blown engine. I was like, well, it still runs. Like, it's not leaking any oil. The oil's good. Coolant's good. How's it blown? Like, I'm like, I don't understand. They're like, it's blown. They did a compression test on the cylinders, and they said it's blown. You lost one of your cylinders or something. I'm like, oh, okay. So I took it to my uncle's shop down there in Pleasant, or down there in a little place, and he's like, I got a 350 for you. You can have it. So as we're taking the engine out, take the first things, valve cover. Take the valve cover off, and there's half a rod laying there. Take the head off, and there's the other half of the rod. The rod just snapped. I could have just thrown another rod in there and put it back together and probably been fine. It was just I don't know, the valves were both closed, so I don't know. And but I was like, 350, I want it. And so I grabbed 350. I had some. It was a 4-volt main, and yeah, we got it. Got the engine swapped in. Me and my dad and my uncle some of the time, and got it running. And I drove it all the way back to where I was living. I was so happy to have my truck back. I was hitching rides beforehand, and yeah, drove it over there, and then I wanted to go show my other uncle that I got it running, and I'll continue this story real soon. Back for just a little bit. I'm gonna try to record as I'm going up to this dump site. Now we got cameras in these fucking trucks. I'm gonna have to start belting up in the landfill probably. Whatever. Usually, you just once you get in here, you ain't got to be seatbelted up. Well, I mean, I think they got signs saying you're supposed to wear your seatbelt. But what's the point? You're going 5 miles an hour up this hill. Anyways, so I get the 350 in there, get it running, take it over to my uncle's house up in town where I lived, over in Kansas at the time. And yeah, I was headed over to his house. He's got some railroad tracks near it. I'm like, I'm going to jump those motherfuckers. So I jumped the railroad tracks I'm just high on the hog. I got this not brand new, but a different engine in there. It's fucking louder than the other one, and probably about the same amount of power. But yeah, fucking just jump the railroad tracks. Not a big deal, right? Not a big deal. And then I start heading back because I called all my buddies. I was like, guys, got my truck back. It's the weekend. Let's go hang out. It's going to have a great time. Somebody dumped their trash all over the fucking road over here. Um, so I'm headed back into Missouri. And right as I get to I'll say it, the Grandview Triangle, right as I get to the Grandview Triangle, I look in my rearview mirror and I don't see a fucking thing. It's just white, like a cloud or smoke. I'm like, oh fuck, that's me. And I pull over right in the Grandview Triangle, which is not a place you want to be. People are crazy out there. And I turn the truck off, and I'm like, oh fuck me, what did I do? And I go out there and I pop the hood, and yeah, the battery fell off. It was not strapped down with anything. It was just setting up on the perch. The battery fell off and landed right on the lower radiator hose. And it was sparking on the headers and shit. It was not good. So I picked the battery up and I put it back where it's supposed to be. Everything's fine. It didn't break the battery. The radiator hose did have a hole in it. So I ran all the coolant out. So I pulled the radiator hose off. I let it cool down because it was hot as a motherfucker. Let it cool down, pull off the lower radiator hose, just one end of it, and I just cut the bad part off of it. And luckily, I had enough that I could reattach it, and I had all the tools with me. I could reattach it to the block right there. And I'm like, all right, we're good. It has no coolant, so that's not good. So I look around in the back. I found a jug that had a little bit of coolant in it. I dumped that in there. I found another jug of water or a couple water bottles, whatever it was. Dumped that in there. I also hopped in the cab and pissed in one of them water bottles and dumped that in there. Not that that was going to be anything to make a difference. I was just trying to get as much liquid as I could by myself and put it in the radiator. And I start cranking on it, and she fires up. I'm like, no fucking way. Throw it and drive, and I all the way down the road up to the next exit, and I pull off because I knew I was going to need to work on the truck or get coolant or something. So I pulled off at the closest place I could behind a gas station, and I turned it off. And I called my dad. I'm like, hey, man, I fucked up my truck. It's like, what, already? And so he showed up out there, and we pulled the heads off in the parking lot of a Sinclair. And there was an O'Reilly's just a few blocks down. So we went over there and got new head gaskets. And we looked at it, and both heads, cast iron heads, had cracks in between the cylinders. Not every single cylinder, but right in the middle of the thing right there, there was big ass cracks in it. He's like, Jesus Christ, what'd you do? I'm like, fuck, I just ran it out of coolant. I don't know. And here's my buddy. I don't know if it's my buddy yet, but he's gonna tell me where to go. Oh, he is my buddy. I'll leave you on. You all can hear this. Good morning. You want me in the pit or in the frac tank? Paint? All right. I'll go bump him. I'll get him out of there. Yep, that's my buddy. Um, yeah, just waiting for this guy to get out of the way. He's blocking the pit. I'll take you with me. Maybe something crazy will happen. Oh, he's talking to him now. There we go. Now he's moving out of the way. Now I can back up to the pit, the one that I want to go to. Sweet. All right. And yeah, so the truck sat over, I had it towed to my uncle's house there in the city, and it sat there for a while. But I'll bring you up more up to speed on the story of the square body here real shortly. I didn't have to get out. The guy just moved on himself, so I'm gonna pause again. Well, a lot has changed since the last time I talked to you, which was not that long ago. But yep, I got offloaded. I washed out. My buddy came over, power washer trailer. We sprayed it out. Got all the little paint flakes and chips and everything out. All the glitter. Got it all out of the truck. And then I get in the truck and we're talking about how we need to take our time a little bit because this is all we had going on today. And you know, the job gods struck down on us. Well, on me, not on him. I got a call. They said, "Hey, you're in the back truck. I need you to head up to St. Joe." And we got a job. It's not an emergency response right now, but it could be one. And we need you to go up there and haul about 4 loads out of some tank they got and dump it off. Okay, not a big deal. I'll go do that. It's only noon. So I'm going to stop along my way, probably grab me a little bite to eat because I am hungry. And then call the customer and let him know where I'm at and when I'll be there. And he will let me know of any other information I need to know. Hopefully everything goes good. Then I called the wife. She said my son's been into Nightmare Before Christmas. Been really into that. He loves Halloween. He says he loves Halloween more than Christmas. I don't know if that's true. He gets a lot of toys for Christmas, but he gets a lot of candy. He also gets candy for Christmas. I don't know, but he loves to dress up. This is a rough riding truck. Oh yeah, bumpy. Mm-hmm. More bumps. Here we go. Come on, get off this fucking highway. Whew. Just trying to talk. Can't even talk in this truck. So, as I'm talking to her, she's asking me about tomorrow because I agreed to go work on the pipeline tomorrow. They're launching a tool in the pipeline. That's about it. And I got to be there early in the morning. It's only a couple hours away, so it's not like a long drive, not a crazy long drive. Um, but if I wake up in the morning, I got to be there at 7 a.m. That means I got to get up at like 3, 2:30 or 3 to get enough time to get up from my house, drive to work, and then get the truck ready to go and get there before 7 because I am one of the crucial components of launching the tool. I am going to catch all of the diesel. They are like, you can't have a fucking drop on the ground. If you have a little bit of a diesel drop on the ground, you'll get in trouble. So they need me to be there ready to go to suck the um, diesel up. And I'm really hoping I've got everything I need. Yes. I should be fine with. Oh, well, I'm thinking about the job I'm heading on right now. And make sure I have all the right fittings and stuff. We will find out when I get there. Anyways, yep. So I think I'm just going to get a hotel tonight. I'm going to drive up there tonight and get a hotel so I can sleep a little bit longer and I'll be much closer. And the kids are getting dropped off at my mother's house. And I told my wife all this information. She's like, "Oh, how about I just go with you?" I'm like, "Hey, that's not a bad idea." So I don't know if that's a good idea, but I'm like, yeah, might do that. Might bring her with me. I'll leave her at the hotel. I'll just drive with her, and then I'll dump her off at the hotel, go out there, do the work, and then go pick her back up from the hotel. Let me make sure I'm going the right way. I know I am, but just make sure. And then, yeah, she can drive around in a truck with me. That'd be exciting. I'll have to grab my extra hard hat and extra vest for her. That'd be fun. Make her wear it while we drive down the road. But this is how we do it, babe. This is how we do it. Um. So yeah, my life went from, trying to find something to do here and there. Now I'm busy as fuck. Now I gotta drive up here, do some work, which is fine. But I'm like, how late are we gonna be here? Not we. I say we. It's me. I'm the only one going. Oh. Yeah. Go up here and sorry for the karate noises. That's the bumps on the road, and they're just pushing air out of my lungs. Um, but I don't know. I don't mind it. I had a short day yesterday. Ah! I had a short day yesterday. What the hell just hit my truck? Something fucking bounced up and hit my truck. I don't know what it was. This thing, y'all, it's so stiff. It just will fucking stutter you off the side into the other lanes. Whew. But good news is I got a nice long drive. Now I can record the rest of the episode. I don't know how long the episode's gonna be. I'm gonna wait until I'll get up here and I'll eat some food. Okay, here we go. Gonna get up here and eat some food, and then I'll add them up and see. I try to just do 2 hours. I don't want to go much more than 2 hours on these episodes. I don't want to. My life isn't that exciting. You don't need to listen to more than 2 hours. Here we go. Oh, bumpy. Bump. Actually, not bad. That wasn't that bad. Um, so, back to the 78. Jumped the railroad tracks, fucked it up, broke down, had to rebuild it again. I had it towed to my uncle's house. It sat there for a while. I was still carless, truckless. And then I moved, or my buddy's dad in a different town, way far away from there, like 3 hours from my uncle's house. He's like, "Oh, why don't you bring it here? We'll fix it up." I was like, "I would. I ain't got no money for a tow bill." "Oh, I'll pick it up for you. You just fill up my tank." Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, that was another bump. And that wasn't a part of the story. That's just a bump. So we got a dolly and took the dolly over there, rolled the truck out from where it had been sitting behind the house. Too damn wide. It was way too wide. It only had like 31s on it. It was solid front axle, but it was just 31s on there. But it was too wide to fit on the car dolly. So we had to squeeze her in there, let some air out of the tires. We got her on, and then we got her off. Took her down there, tore the whole top end apart on the truck. Got me Edelbrock performance intake used. Got me a Edelbrock carburetor used. My buddy's dad rebuilt it on the bench there, and oh, 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 got it. Got the carburetor rebuilt. Got the performance intake put on there. Before that, we had to get the heads. So we were still using the same bottom end that I heated up. The heads were bad, so we chucked them in the scrap pile. Took all the good parts out of them. Chucked it in the scrap pile, and he had another set of heads laying around that fit on a small block Chevy. Nobody was sure what they were or what they came off of. So we just cobbled together. We had some new valve guides, some old valve springs. I mean, I don't know. It was just a bunch of cobbled together shit that neither head was the same. We tried to even it up a little bit, but I was like, just put it all on there. So I don't know. We had some new valve springs, some old valve springs. Are they the same? I don't know. It ran. I took it to the tire shop. Well, there's like a shop there in town. Why is the fan running? All right. This thing is just bouncing all over. Surprised the dash cam hasn't gone off, or maybe I hasn't noticed it going off yet. Got the engine built, put it together, drove it down. Went to my buddy's uncle's house. Well, not house. It's his house, but it's a barn he had out there in the middle of nowhere. And he had some old tires. He's like, "Yeah, I got these old tires if you want them." 'Cause my tires were not good. And I was like, "Yeah, a matching set of all terrains? Hell yeah." Threw them on there. Took it down to the tire shop, got the tires mounted, got the exhaust done there also. I had a Flowmaster and a MagnaFlow. And I was like, "Here's two mufflers." He's like, "You want these on there?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's all I got." So I had a Flowmaster on one side and a MagnaFlow on the other side. or dyno something. I don't know what mufflers they were, but it sounded weird. It was an odd sounding truck, but it did sound good. It was just straight pipe to mufflers. No cats, nothing like that. And I remember we got it running. I was working at a Casey's Pizza, Casey's General Store. I was a pizza cook. And I had to drive, I don't know, about an hour to work every day. And I was usually riding the wife of my brother or my buddy's dad's fiance. She was the manager over there at the Casey's. So I would ride to work with her, but then I got my truck running, so I said now I can work extra shifts. So I did that. I drove up there one night, so happy to be driving this truck again, and pull in there, work late shift, making fucking pizzas. I actually enjoyed making pizzas. It was fun. It was like a little art project. Every pie. And I made them good, too. You know, they say, oh, only one scoop of sausage, Kevin. How about a scoop? And then I fill in the gaps. I'm making them good. I'm making sure I get the meat, cheese, and sauce almost all the way to the edge of that pie. You know, I made delicious pizzas. And when I cut it exactly perfect. I wasn't trying to, make some small slices and some big slices. I made them all equal. So when somebody came there and they saw me working, they could just they didn't have to wait for that carousel to spin around to get the big piece. They're all the same size. You just grab one, and they're all made with love from me. Anyways, and they they wouldn't let me eat the old pizza. It's only been in there for an hour. I had to make sure I had to stock it every hour. Had to make a new pizza, label them, and then all the pizzas. I just put this in there an hour ago. It came from the oven. It was outside of the oven for maybe 5 minutes, and then it was put into this other pizza oven box. And sometimes I'd make a pizza and nobody'd eat it, and I just felt so hurt by that. I'm like, this beautiful pie that I made and nobody's going to eat it. So what I did is I grabbed me another trash can and I put a brand new trash sack in it. It's brand new, okay? It's not gross. It's brand new. So I dump all the pizzas into this one trash can. I had a trash pizza bin. And then I'd act like I'm going to take this out to the dumpster. I didn't take it out to the dumpster. I threw that motherfucker in my truck. And it wasn't all the pizza. It wasn't from all day. It was just the last couple of pizzas I had in there. I'd put a new trash bag in it because people would come over and they'd dump something in there. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, you ruined my pizzas. They're like, what? You're not supposed to eat those anyways. If you're going to eat them, you got to pay for them. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to pay for old trash pizza. It is made with love, and it's not that old. So anyways, I'd eat those on my way home. But the first day that I drove the truck to work and I had left, I started up and it sounded a little funny. Put it in reverse to get out of the parking spot, and then put it into drive, and it was clanking. Bad. There was some bad sounds coming from there. Pulled down the road a ways, hoping it would clear up, because that's what I do. It didn't clear up. It got worse. Pull over and open the hood, and I hear the clanking. I heard the clanking coming from right there at the train's tunnel. So I pop up the hood, and I'm looking back there by the distributor, and lo and behold, I could stick my finger in between the engine and transmission. Somebody, me, didn't tighten the fucking bolts up. torque specs. What? No, you just fucking tighten them up. Well, I put the bolts in there, but I didn't tighten them all the way up, and they had backed out. And I was like, oh fuck. And it's midnight in the middle of nowhere. When I say the middle of nowhere, I mean I left this town and I made it over the river, and that was way too far for me to walk back to town. It's fields, nothing but fields for like 45 minutes. There's a barn every now and again. That's it. The next town was 45 minutes down the road. And then the town that I lived in was another 30 minutes down another road. It was like an hour. I mean, it wouldn't take me that long because I would haul ass. I'd speed. I was a speed demon doing about 65. So I just drove it home. I was like, it sounds bad, but I don't know what to do. And he ain't got no cell signal out there, nothing. So I just fucking drove it back home, and it made it. Pulled it right into the shop that night, popped the hood, grabbed the, 3/8? I don't know what size bolt it was. Fucking tighten it down. 13, 16? I don't know what it was. I tightened those fucking bolts down and never touched it again. It was fine after that. Drove fine. And then that is the little town that I lived in, where I was supposed to keep the key in the truck, because what if my buddy's dad needs to move it? I lived out there, park the truck in the wrong spot. Anywhere could be the wrong spot. You park it right here, nothing's around it, wide open area. Nope. Hey, I need to move your fucking truck. Where's the fucking key? And I didn't want him to do that no more, so I left the key in it. I moved back to town, and that's when I worked at the grocery store. Worked at the grocery store, and I got fed up with that fucking grocery store. But it was fine. I mean, I drove with the 78 there all the time. It was all right. But then I left the grocery store and I started working at the gas station, and that's where it got stolen from. Because even working at the grocery store, I left the key in it. And that was in the hood. Nobody fucked with it in the hood. But of course, in the town that I was living in at that point in time, seemed like a nice little suburb town. And they fucking stole my fucking truck. And I already told you that story, so I ain't gonna say that one again. But there's the backstory on the 78. There's even more of a backstory on it that I'll get into. But probably not right now, because I'm about to be pulling up to my my lunch, and if I got time left on the clock, I'll come back. You'll hear me again. And I'll tell you how I got the truck. Which I don't know if I've told you that one. I definitely haven't told you everything about it. So yep, gonna pull up here off the side of the highway. There's a nice little truck stop. I'm good on fuel and deaf. Well, I'm good for now. I'm not gonna get fuel right now. I'm just gonna run in there and grab me some food real quick, and then call the guy and tell him I'm on my way. And hopefully get me a nice slice of pizza. Yeah, that 78, it was chocolate brown, metallic. She looked good. She had, when I bought it, I don't want to get into that unless I'm going to tell you the whole story about it, but, oh man, I love that truck so much. Yeah, it was down there at my buddy's dad's house when I lived out there. I took his cutoff wheel to the dash. because it had an old 8-track player in it, AM FM 8-track player in it, original, and it worked. Well, the 8-track didn't work, but I was always shoving other shit in that fucking hole. Not a good idea. And so I bought some 8-tracks. It didn't work. I couldn't get it to work. That's fine. I picked up the radio and I'd listen to that. But I was like, I got CDs I want to listen to. So I pulled the old radio out and I used a cutoff wheel, and because the hole for the radio fit that radio, it had a little screen in the middle and then the knobs on the side. And I took a cutoff wheel and made the square to fit a newer style radio in there. And I made my own little bracket type deal back there. It was still would like you could pull it out, not all the way, but you could pull it out of the dash. And I made it to where you couldn't shove it in the dash. That was a bad one. Knock the radio off in the dash. That ain't no good. So it was janky, but it worked. Really wish I would have just kept that old radio in there. But oh well. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go right now, but I'll be back. And maybe I'll have another story for you. Maybe I'll just have an outro for you. But I'm gonna let you go for right now. I'll talk to you in a second. Hold on. All right. I added that. I added it all up. I had me 2 slices of delicious pepperoni pizza, a bag of Ruffles queso. If you haven't had it, go fucking get it. It's delicious. They're really more common now. It used to be like I'd have to look around for them, but now they show up pretty much everywhere. And water, just a water. I added up my episodes split up that I got going on right now, and I think I got about 9 more minutes to hit 2 hours around there. But I've only got a half-hour drive, so I'm probably just gonna give y'all an extended cut. Is that what that means? Extended cut? A little bit longer than normal, maybe? Extender? The extender series. I'm gonna have to pick all these fucking chips out of my teeth so I can get a dip in. Not a dick, a dip. Skull straight. Here we go. Green light. Let's go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to call. I asked the guy because they were asking me. They're like, "You got a 3-inch cam lock hoses with you?" I'm like, "No, I do not. I have one 3-inch cam lock, and it's a vent hose. I can't do anything with that except for vent. I mean, I could, and some people have, but it's not. That ain't gonna last. Not good. Don't want to do that. But I've got 2-inch hoses. I got 3 20-foot 2-inch hoses with me. And I found, so off the truck, I've got a 4 to 3 and then a 3 to 2 adapter. Starts out as a female hooked to the male part of the truck, and then it goes down to a 2-inch male, 4-inch female, all the way down to a 2-inch male. But they're 2 different fittings. And I've got a 4-inch to 2-inch that I'm going to replace that with off the truck. Then I'm going to hook my hose, which is the normal configuration, hook the hose up to the truck, run my hoses where they need to go. Then I've got a double female 2-inch cam lock fitting. It's female on both sides. So I'm going to stick that on the end of the hose, and then all the fitting that I have on the truck right now, I've got a 2 to 3, and I'm going to put that on. It's going to be on backwards, but he said he has a 3-inch male fitting. So I should be able to hook right up to it. I'm hoping this guy knows what he's talking about, and it's not. I don't get there, and I'm like, that's a female. Like, shit goes into females. Males have things, they fit inside of the female. I don't. The birds are over there, and the bees are over here, and the birds lay eggs, and the bees, they pollinate. What is the fucking birds and the bees, anyways? I've never understood. Neither one of them have humans, and they don't really have sex like us either. Or do they? I've seen a bee movie, the bee movie, and I don't know. There was that one bee that was trying to get with that one chick, but I don't think anybody had sex in the bee movie. The one with Seinfeld. Got shit in my teeth. I am. There's a scale on my route up here. There is a scale up here ahead. Y'all, I've never been stopped in a scale when I've been talking to you guys. So let's hope, if anything, I just roll on through. Or they ain't done eating their food yet, and they ain't open. Sorry, I had to get some skull. This is a rough part of the highway. You probably can't hear the truck shaking the fuck. I'm burping too. But it's shaking, and you're going to hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm going to sound a little juvenile. I don't know. Oh, man. Here we go. Big one. Oh! All right. Ain't got much wiggle room. I would run my drivers on the line, and that'd help out, but there's cars over there, and they freak out when you do that when you're next to them. If you drive on the zipper, the dotted line in the middle of the road, they don't like it when you drive too close to them. Plus, the tires on this Freightliner, no, it's not a Freightliner, this is a Peterbilt. When the tires on this Peterbilt stick so far fucking out on the front, there's a shadow over there, and I always think I left my toolbox open on the side of the truck. I look over there, and I'm like, well, fuck. Nope, I didn't. The 78, when I got, there's construction now. Okay. When I got the 78, it was because I had sold my 90s Chevy. I was dumb. I was 18, 19, got a DWI. I was 18 when I got it, but I turned 19 shortly after I got it. So I was 18. I got caught drinking and driving. Not drinking and driving. I was already drunk. I was just driving around. There's a story that goes on with that, but I'm not going to get into that. The fact of the matter is I got rid of my truck because I had to pay a man in a suit to defend me in the courthouse. And he did a pretty good job. He just costed me my truck, which, that's how she goes. So, I needed a ride, and I had $500. I saved up $500 or borrowed it. I don't know where I got the $500, but I bought me a Ford fucking Ranger. Needed a clutch. It's not really the same situation as my truck I got now. It was a family-owned truck. It was black and silver, Ford Ranger STX. It was four-wheel drive, V6, manual, extended cab. It had a brush guard on the front. It had a headache rack out back. It had a toolbox mounted back there too. Um, and it was good. It was all original. It was actually really nice. I've had some nice vehicles. Look at that. They're closed. Did I just jinx it? Are they going to turn it to open as soon as I get close? Let's watch. I'm watching. It's still closed. Red. CLOSED. Good deal. Anyways, yeah, Scale House closed, by the way. Anybody heading up I-29 right now, you can get through the Scale House. It's closed, everybody. Uh, Bought the Ford Ranger, put a clutch in it, drove it to work. My brother decided to buy himself a Bronco too. He never got it running quite right, but every time I pulled in the driveway, I would ram into it because I had a brush guard, and it had a spare tire on the back of the Bronco too, and I just ram into it every time. It, he hated it. He hated that I did that. It did dent the door where it mounts to the door and everything. It did dent it in, but fuck him, and whatever. Not fuck him. I love him, but fuck that Ford Bronco he had. I just ran my Ranger right into it. Um, and I was getting tired of it. That's just how I was back then. I just got tired of it. I wanted a square body, so I sold it for $1,200. Got on the Craigslist, and I'm scrolling through, and out of nowhere, well, out of the internet, I see 1978 Chevy short box, $1,000, runs, drives, clean title. Ho, that's in my price range, and that's what I want. So I didn't even read the rest of the article. I just took off and went down there. I took a buddy with me, or he drove me down there. And this guy opens up this old wooden shed, and there she sits. She's all dusty and dirty. He's like, "Yeah, she'll run. You got to put a little carb cleaner down in there and fire her right up." Fired it up. It sounded beautiful. Said, "It's rusty." And I pull it out, and I'm like, "You ain't kidding. It's fucking rusty. I'll tell you right now. This is not good. The outside door skin fucking wobbles. Just when the light breeze comes by, just blah, 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 blah." So I said, he's like, "You want to take it for a drive?" I was like, "Fuck yes, I do." So I hop in it. Like I said, it had a 2-barrel 305. That's what the guy told me, and that's what my friends told me. Had a 305 in it. I hop in that thing, and I'm just putting around. The gas pedal's real stiff. And he's like, "Yeah, it's stiff. You got to hit it hard." So I mash it down to the ground, and we're on a gravel road, and it just kicks the ass end out, and we're fucking rolling. And then I let off the throttle, but the throttle don't come back with my foot. The throttle return spring broke when I did that. And we're going on our fucking drive down the road, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, it won't stop." And I try hitting the brakes, and then I put it up into neutral, and it's just, it didn't have a limiter on it, obviously. It just like revving out. So the guy that had it jumped out real quick, popped the hood, and pushed the throttle back. He's like, "Woo, that was scary." I was like, "Yeah, sold. I'll buy it." So I gave him 1,000. I didn't even haggle. I was like, "Here's $1,000. See you later." He did give me a little backstory on it. It was his dad's truck. He drove it back and forth to Whiteman Air Force Base. Um, if you don't know, that's where they parked the B-2 bomber sometimes. But it's out there in the middle of Missouri. And it had the sticker, the little sticker on the bumper. I left it on there. It would have needed a razor blade to get it off, and I didn't do that. I thought it was kind of cool. It said Whiteman Air Force, Whiteman AFB. and it was like in the 80s or something. So, yep, took her home. She had a grill in it, but it was all fucked up. And yeah, I just zip tied the license plate to the grill, and that's how I got my truck. I Yep, I told you already. I jumped the railroad tracks. I got it up on two wheels once. It was snowing out, and I was driving around in four-wheel drive, drifting, and I found a curb. Didn't feel good. I did that once also with my other truck, my green one, my first truck I ever had. That one was a lot harder of a hit. This one, I just kind of hit the curb. It went up on two wheels, and I just fired it. All the gas flew out of the carb when I did that, and I just fired it back up. Well, it was more like, and yeah, sit there and do that because it's got that manual fuel pump. You got to pump the gas and everything. Mm-hmm. I had a piece of diamond plate. There's a shop class in high school, and I was making a toolbox. I never finished it, but I had a toolbox, and I bought a bunch of diamond plate to make the lid, and I made the lid. Like, it was all there. I had all the parts. I just didn't finish it. But with some of the scrap aluminum, I used an angle grinder, and I made a Chevy emblem. And then when I got this truck, after I got it fixed the second time, my buddy's dad, he was scrapping a truck, and I took the grill off of it, and it was just a straight bar grill from side to side, not up and down. It was a side to side straight bar grill, chrome. I mounted that in there, and then I just screwed this diamond plate Chevy emblem to the front of it. I still have it to this day. I took it off before I sold it to the dude. But I should put that on the truck I got now. Now that I think about it, I do have. When I bought that truck, I called up O'Reilly's. It was that truck that I did it with. I called O'Reilly's and said, y'all got any footprint gas pedals in stock?" It's like, "I've never been asked that before. Let me check." He's typing. It's like, yeah, we have 10. I'm like, "Oh, sweet." He's like, "But they're at the warehouse, so you'll have to pick it up at 4 o'clock today." I said, "Oh yeah, that's fine." I mean, I could definitely use it sooner. I mean, I'm in a bind over here. I really need to get that footprint gas pedal, but I get, yeah, 4 o'clock. It's all right. Can I just pick it up from the warehouse? Actually, where's your warehouse located? Okay, well, now, how about this? You just deliver. You just bring it to the store. You should probably put some of them on the shelf out there to sell them because people need them. So I got me a footprint gas pedal, and I didn't read the instructions. I just took some self tappers and just screwed it right to the pedal. And that was in the 78. It went into my S10, and it went into my Suburban. Um, it also was in my 2006 GMC Sierra, and now it's in my truck I got now. Footprint gas pedal. Also, whenever my truck got stolen, and it was returned to me, there's a little lure that I had. It was just a green little lure, and not a rubber one. It was like a fabric lure looking thing. I just had it on some baling wire, and I thought it looked cool up on the sun visor. So that's gone with me into every single truck that I got now. But I added to it. My father, he did pass away in 2013, and uh, we got the ashes, and we got a little vial. I got a little vial with an American Eagle, or not American Eagle, a bald eagle on there, American Eagle, whatever, bald eagle on there. And it's in a little capsule, and that hangs up in all my vehicles except for the Cruise. Fuck the Cruise. But I'm like, my dad's with me. He's riding around with me in all my trucks. He was he didn't care if it was Ford or Chevy. He just drive what had wheels, but he would drive the shit out of them. He'd take off in my trucks. Boy, I'm like, dude, I get to drive the shit out of it. You don't, because if you break it, I still got to fix it. But he'd always drive the shit out of my stuff. But I imagine I'll do the same to my son, and he'll be upset. But it's okay. You'll be all right. Daddy knows. Daddy knows everything. I don't, but to him I do. I'll figure it out. I'll help you through life. Uh, yeah. So, what else with that truck? I got it stuck in the snow a lot. There was like a big mound at one of my buddy's neighborhoods. Oh, there's also that same buddy, his girlfriend at the time. She worked at a bank, and they plowed the parking lot. And he's like, yeah, let's go there and wait for her to get done working. And so he thinks he's funny. He's gonna drive his truck and pull in the drive-through at the bank and just talk to her through the window or whatever. They were getting ready to close. There's nobody else in line. And right outside, right in front of him was the snowbank. And you just see me hauling ass from across the parking lot, running up this big ass snow pile. He's like, whoa, what the fuck? Yeah, I loved that truck. Um, as far as like real off-roading, I didn't do much with that truck. I didn't, I mean, it would drive through fields and stuff. Oh, I did. I did. Now I remember. Sorry, I totally fucked up. Go ahead and rewind. I did take that truck off roading a lot when I lived with my buddy's dad. That same buddy actually. I lived with his dad, and they called it the holler. I don't know. You yell in there. I don't fucking know. But it was like there was a stream that led to the river. There was a river nearby also. There's rivers everywhere. There are. There's just a lot of rivers around here. Anyways, yeah, there's a stream down there, but it was like down a big hill, and there's another uphill side to it, and I'd go down there and fuck around all the time. Um, but then his grandpa, across the street, they bought the house across the street, and he was doing a lot of bulldozing and excavating on that hill because it was such a big hill. It was flooding his basement. He was pissed, so he was reworking the land out there so the water wouldn't get in the basement. And I ran the dump truck for him. I had never driven anything that big at that point in time, but I drove it. It was an old Chevy C60 or whatever the fuck, yellow dump truck. It had the square body cab. It was cool. But I would try to drive my truck up over there where he was excavating, and yeah, it was too steep. All the fuel would just bounce right out of the car or just fall to the back of the bowl, and I don't know. So I took that. Oh, another snow time. This was a different year, but it was snowy out, and I was living out there still. I was driving to the other town, not towards where I used to work over there at the Casey's, but I was headed to the other town. And it's just big flat lands, and there's a big levee that goes around, and because there's a fucking river. Anyways, a big flat area, so the snow drifts were fucking crazy out there. And I was swerving snow drifts, and then I'm like, why am I swerving those? That's fresh powder. I'm just gonna fucking ram the next one. And the next one was a big one, and I even went over onto the shoulder a little bit. I'm like, I'm gonna get this one good. And kabam! Fucking explosion of snow. Can't see a fucking thing. I'm spinning. And then I'm going down a hill. Not a much of a hill, but I'm like going down. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And yeah, I spun out. I hit that and I spun out into the ditch. And then my wipers go. And then I could see. And I'm pointed the same direction I was headed. But I'm way off into the ditch. Completely stuck. I'm like trying to get. I'm like, no, it's fucking stuck. It ain't coming out. Not by its own power, at least. So I just shut the door and walked home. Luckily, it was only a couple of miles. I walked home and told Grandpa, and he brought his Silverado out there. It was just a 2000 Silverado Z71. He brought it out there and yanked me out of that fucking snowdrift. And I kept on doing what I was doing, whatever the fuck I was. Probably trying to go chase some tail somewhere. And then another time, it was I had moved most of my stuff back to the city. I was getting ready to move back all the way, and I was making trips back and forth. It was like a 4-hour round trip. So I was making trips back and forth with the Silverado, or the Cheyenne is what it wasn't even a Silverado, it was a Cheyenne. Making my trips back and forth, and then the last trip, it was late at night, and I stopped over by this one dude's house. They smoked a bunch of weed over there. I didn't. They did. I didn't. Never done this stuff, but they did. And I was like, I gotta go home now. Bye forever. And I get out and I get in my truck and I'm driving. They're like, yeah, it's a bad snowstorm. You shouldn't drive in it. I'm like, it'll be fine. And I'm driving and I'm uh, not under the influence of anything. I'm just driving, sober. And it's like I'm in a fucking spaceship, man. There's fucking stars just flying at me. The snowflakes coming into the windshield. I'm like, holy fuck, I shouldn't be driving right now. But I kept going. And the snow was getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'm on these backcountry roads, just trying to make my way to the highway. And I'm like, there was a semi or something that big had drove through there. So I was trying to follow his ruts. And there were cars off in the ditch all over the place. And I was like, I don't know you. I ain't stopping. So I just kept on going. Weaving across the lanes, but you can't even tell where you're at in the snow. I was like, I'm probably driving pretty good. Look in the rearview mirror and you see cars following me in my path, and they're just zigzagging all over the fucking place. I'm like, oh Jesus! And coming off the highway now here, um, I make it to the gas station, and I'm like, oh, I need to buy me a scratcher. I'm so glad I made it. They're like, yeah, well, you're only halfway lucky. Where you headed? I'm like, Kansas City. He's like, good fucking luck. You're gonna have to take back roads the rest of the way. They got the highway shut down. Black ice everywhere. I'm like, how many black guys are out there? They're like, black ice. I'm like, oh shit. All right. So sorry, I stole that joke from somebody. Theo Vaughn, maybe. I don't know. Uh, Yeah, I'm thinking of Vaughn and Joe Rogan. That's a funny one. Anyways, yeah, so I ended up taking back roads all the way back, and I mean, I was all over the fucking road, but not that I was under the influence, but if I had been under the influence, it was gone. Um, and then the fear set in, and I was like, oh fuck me, this is not a good idea. But I made it. I made it back. I love driving in snow. It's a lot of fun. Um, yeah, my green truck that I had, I drove that in the snow. I mean, I drove that thing all over the place. I got it stuck in a couple of snow drifts before. There's one time I was with my buddy Z. I'll call him Z. And I'll probably end up saying his name later in this episode. Oh, well, there's only a couple people listening to this. Anyways, um, we're driving around, just drifting the streets and stuff. And he's a big old boy, and I'm not at this point in time. And he's sitting next to me, and I got my CB radio mounted to the dash of my 96 K1500. And, because we would talk to each other in our trucks. Thought it was cool. And this motherfucker was heavy and didn't like to wear a seatbelt, or just happened to not be wearing a seatbelt at this point in time. And I'm drifting around this corner really fast. I shouldn't have been going so fast. And I just nailed the curb sideways, perfectly sideways. Front and rear tire hit the curb at the same exact time. And the truck almost fucking flipped. I don't know how I didn't crack a rim, bend a rim, blow a tire, I probably did bend some components up front, but I fucking hit that motherfucker hard. And big old boy on the passenger side of the truck came tumbling onto me. Not really tumbling, it's more like a meat missile right into my fucking face. And his fat ass leg knocked my CB radio off the dash and cracked it, and broke the CB too. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Zach, get off of me. And I do remember the next time I had to take the wheels off, I could not get those fucking lug nuts off. I don't, I was like, I took it to a tire shop, Firestone, and they're like, God damn, what the hell? Tight did you put these fucking lug nuts on? I'm like, I hit a fucking curb really hard. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the tightness of the lug nuts, but yeah. So I had to take it to the tire shop just for them to take the wheel and tire off. Another time I'm telling you, I'm true. I wasn't under the influence, and I was driving the truck. I was sober, but I took it was a big intersection. I took it too sharp, and I found myself in oncoming traffic. And this was late at night in a not very popular area. That guy's missing an arm. He's got his arm out the window, and he ain't got it. It's gone. I wonder if he rolled it up in the fucking window. His arm, he's just got a nub. I know he didn't. There'd be blood or something somewhere. I don't think the window would roll up on an arm, anyways. I don't know how much pressure it takes to break a human femur or a human tibia, coccyx, elbow muscles and stuff. Anyways, yeah, that dude had some crazy vehicles too. He got his grandma's old Ford Tempo. That was his first car, and we drove the piss out of that thing. And then he got tired of it. I remember we were changing the oil once. He changed the oil. He's like, "When do we put the oil filter on?" I'm like, "The fuck? You're supposed to put that on already." He's like, "What? I'm like, "Yeah, that's supposed to go on when you drain the oil. You take that off. You put the oil filter on, and then you put new oil in it. You already put all the new oil in." I'm like, "Just fuck this car anyways. Just leave it. It's fine." He tried to unscrew. He did. He unscrewed the old oil filter and put the new one on, and then just added more oil. his parents were pissed about the driveway. But that's just a little story about that guy and that coming through. I don't like this intersection at all. It's like a zigzag. They should have just made it straight. Um, Here's some railroad tracks. Anyways, so he had the Ford Tempo. He was also in the National Guard. He and an Eagle Scout. He had the Ford Tempo. He sold the Ford Tempo, and then he wanted to get a truck like the rest of us. But he ended up getting a really the shittiest S10 you could get. Single cab long bed S10 5-speed. So it's a 5-speed. But the guy he bought it from, he put all the chrome decorations he could on the engine, but he's like, yeah, you got to turn the key, you got to flip this switch, and you got to hold this button to start it. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like a 4-step process to start this truck. He's like, oh, it's got a manual choke over here on this side, and you can't if you uh one day he was gone for a little while, so we wired up his horn to the ignition, so like it would just blare the horn whenever the truck turned on. It was really funny. Luckily it wasn't like the brake lights or anything, because that would have been better. That would have been more funny, but he wouldn't. I don't know. Well, I'm where I need to be, and thank you for sticking with the extended cut. I'm gonna talk to y'all probably tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. Keep all 18 down. Bye.